So today is Mythology Monday, and this week we're going to talk about the Celtics. So in my series, The Head, the Heart, and the Heir, which, hang on, I'm going to grab magic of editing. In my series, The Head, the Heart, and the Heir, there's a bunch of different sorcerer lines, as you know if you've been following the channel for a while, and if not, there are 10 sorcerer lines in my world of Torian in The Head, the Heart, and the Heir, and one of them follows Celtic mythology. So for Mythology Monday today, we're going to talk about the Celtics. Now, I will preface this by saying a lot of what I have delved into for my Celtic mythology in this book is my interpretation of what I actually read. I have a book, where's my research book's on the bottom here. This is the book I prefaced for my research in my Celtic mythology. I enjoyed it. It was a nice little read. You can see I have tab things in it. I'm not a tabber, so the fact that I actually bothered to tab this book tells you something. But when I was delving into the Celtic mythology, I did so to remind myself and try to get a little more accurate beliefs and opinions and things like that of the Celtic world. And I'll be honest, I went into my research for Celtic mythology thinking the Celtics only existed in like Wales, Ireland, like North England kind of area, and that they were just harmonious and sweet people. Oh God, no, they're violent buggers, like really violent, which was surprising to me. And also they spread a lot across Europe, which was really fun and interesting to read. And I enjoyed this book because it went into the history, the locations, a little bit of the background. Oh, and I have another one that I read too that got into the characters or the different types of creatures you run into in Celtic mythology as well. So for my purposes with the Celtics, the Celtic line in my world is the nature and harmony line. So because of that, I went in here looking for specifically the types of Celtic things that related to nature and finding a balance and harmony and things like that. And in order to be useful for my purposes, that doesn't mean there aren't other parts of mythology. It doesn't mean there aren't other valid opinions and things on it. But for my world of Torian, the Celtics are peaceful and harmonious. They are in tune with nature. They're able to bring about balance in other people. So they're very helpful with that kind of thing. And so when I did my Celtic research, it was a lot of fun to learn about the different creatures that are existing in Celtic mythology, because unlike a lot of my other mythologies that well, not unlike all of them, similarly to some of the other ones, like next week we're going to talk about the Greeks, they also have monsters and creatures and people and things like that in their mythology, but different from like Arthurian legend, which was another influencer for me, where it's literally just stories about people. The Celtics had animals and creatures and a lot of stories in them, things like, oh, don't go outside at night, or the brownies will eat you. So that kind of situation too, where it's a lot of lessons for children and values and that kind of thing in them, which I enjoy because, you know, I'm German. I grew up with the original Grimm's fairy tales, the ones where people cut their foot off to fit in a shoe. And so, you know, we have Krampus scaring the crap out of your children to get them to behave. It's just a way of life for us. So for me, the dark side of the Celtic mythology was actually a lot of fun to read. And so it did give me a couple of ideas on how to maybe make, you know, a little darker side to my nature-loving magical Celtics. And so that was a lot of fun. It hasn't come up yet, but I'm working on book 4 now, and so I'm not afraid to let my peace-loving Celtic Titan smack the crap out of her nephew when he does something she disapproves of. So it did influence a little bit of some of the characters that I created in my book, which is a lot of fun because learning about it was not. I did find out that there wasn't a specific Celtic god that I could use as the main starting point for my line, which is why they're just the Celtics and they're just a group of founders, as opposed to like Merlin was founded by Merlin. So that I did find there wasn't a specific god who would serve the purposes for my world. But I enjoyed reading about the Celtic mythology, and it's made me curious about a lot more of the creatures and things of different kinds of mythologies. So yeah, if you want a really easy to read book on Celtic mythology, a good starter book, I would say this is a fantastic one. You can see it's not a massive amount of words, but it does delve into so many different areas that I wouldn't have thought to look into, like location and how religion influenced them and how the Celtic lore and life influenced the religion and the places we have now, which was really fun to read about as well if you like any kind of history stuff. So yeah, no, it's a little bit of a tangent Mythology Monday for you, but sorry, that's what you get this week. The Celtics are a little off kilter for me. So I hope you learned something about Celtic mythology. They have lots of gods and animals, and their lessons are to keep children to behave. So yeah, happy reading and have a great Monday. Bye.